Oh, it didn't go. So let's see.
Says you're live.
Yeah, I know.
In the upper left
And
hand
we
corner of
are live. Wednesday night with those guys, and Wednesday night with those guys are sponsored by
those
those
guys.
guys.
I just got an alert for your stream, and the chat that everyone else was in is still there. So I'm telling them
Yeah, I
all
know
hit
it did the
refresh.
same thing. And that's because it did the other thing again, like I told you before was happening. I got to find out why it keeps doing that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
What's
anyway,
happening, Paul, is when you go live through Zoom, if you schedule your show, your live stream, what happens is you're given the option to stream it
well,
directly through the control room in YouTube, which a lot of people don't use. They just go live and make a long story short, it's not doing what the hell it's supposed to do.
well, it was actually working at one point very well.
Yeah,
And it
it
just
was. Hey, morning, Rob.
started
What's
doing
up,
what it
Bill? Coast to
was
coast.
do.
Hey,
So
Bill,
I
how's it
guess I
going?
He's, like Bill just said he got your 30-minute alert just now.
oh, see, yeah, it's YouTube and Zoom are not playing well together, it seems. And
Yeah,
I
they're
don't know. I got
acting,
to work it. Got to figure out what's
they're acting a little
happening.
funny.
No, I think what's might be happening is that
Now you got to re-click that like button.
it might be corrupted. The Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do is probably have to download the whole, the whole Zoom and
Did you do your
redo it.
updates?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I've been doing the updates. It's just that it's just not acting properly. So with that,
Hey, what's up, Fly Guy Merrill?
in the world, we're
Bye, guys. Logan Carpenter.
good evening, everyone. Welcome.
Yes.
Sorry about that problem, but
What's good, Audley?
I'm having a little issues with the software with Zoom and YouTube. So once I work that out, it'll all go back to where it was before. But
Yeah,
neither
sorry
here
for
nor
you
there.
guys getting kicked
Sorry
out
about
of
all
the
that.
other chat, but we are experiencing technical difficulties, and like Herman says,
You know,
until
it's one of those things that seem to happen from time to time.
ASK, how are you?
Like I told Lawrence, if there's a problem that can happen with electronics, I can find it. So how you
That's
been, Paul?
true.
Hanging.
Hanging? Getting any
Just,
ships
just
lately?
I get a couple of ships here and then. I missed one this afternoon because I ran out to Sam's Club and thought I had time, and by the time I got back, because I
Okay.
had some frozen products I needed to put in the freezer. By the time I got that done, it was already sailing by. So
You mean
Hello,
it's
Tanya.
not like
you
it's
had
not like
to
I won't get it again. You know.
you
Geeks
had to
Lana.
you had to you said you had to put some stuff in the freezer?
Yeah.
I thought
Breakfast bowls. You know how
I
that
thought
goes.
it would be good that you would be better. It'd be better for you this way that they just
Break-
leave them out, let them
I had to buy 2 cases of
let it all get vintage right away.
not my breakfast bowls.
Those you don't do vintage. I got you. I feel you. So
What's up,
anyway,
Sean?
Lawrence,
How are you? Capture Light, Stevie. What's good? That's right,
My
Stevie.
guy.
what's good, man? So
Stevie's
what's been going
usually home
on,
during the week,
Lawrence?
huh?
What's been going on with you? You've been, I mean, I know
Nothing.
the weather has been a
Actually,
little
you
funky.
guys remember I was working with the FPV bird and I put the LED lights on?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, they didn't fry, sizzle, or pop off, explode when I plugged it in, the bird in. They lit up quite well. Thank you very much, Sean. I appreciate it. Monday's a lot better. I found out because I'm not working next week, Thursday. I'll be working next week, Tuesday. So I have
Okay.
to get every little bit I can because the meeting that we were supposed to have, Herman, me, you, and Sean,
Uh-huh.
concerning learning something new,
Uh-huh.
it'll be moved over to Monday. But what's up, Digital Kite? How are you? What's up, Stevie Bronx? You got time to come in if you do.
Hey, Sean, what's going on, man? What'd you say? What you saying, Lawrence?
No, I was just saying that's basically it. But the drone, um, the LEDs work on are fine.
Okay.
Now it's just a matter of putting in the VTX, and so I can see where I'm going,
Mm-hmm.
and putting in a receiver, which I haven't decided what type of receiver I want to put in because I have a two antenna receiver, and I'm thinking about just going with one antenna. It's a lot less hassle, a
Okay.
little less wiring. Hey, Eat More Possum, welcome.
Eat more possum.
AZ
That's
Drone.
good. I love that name. Eat more possum.
Well, yeah, and it's, you can call a lot of things possum.
Well, I mean,
He went there, Herman. He went
I'm
there.
just saying. I'm just saying. It's early. It's early.
like I said, I love that name. You know, it's just
It is. It is a great name. It's sort of like some of the gamer tags that I see on when I'm playing Xbox. Which, by the way, Billy Kyle supposedly just added me on Xbox, so I'm gonna try and catch up with him and play some Call of Duty in the future. But everything with me is okay, Herman. I mean, nothing major. You know, we have we have a few people coming in. Thanks for clicking that like button. There's people are starting to do it automatically, and that's very
oh,
much
thank you,
appreciated.
thank you.
There's
But
Series X, Feet on the Ground. If you guys don't know him, he's from Australia. A very good friend. We've been playing Xbox for over 10 years.
okay,
Easy. I easy playing Xbox for over 10 years. At least 10 years at a minimum, I'm gonna say. But and the Series X, I want it. I can't afford it. So I'm gonna go with the cheaper one. I'm gonna go with the $300 one. The one with the
well,
1 or 2 terabyte hard drive.
with the stories that I'm hearing that they're not going to be mainly ready and
I'm
available
sorry about this. Hold on. I don't know what
until
the hell.
somewhere around the first, or maybe just after the first quarter in the store. So you got time. But that and the that AMD
Okay, sorry about
graphics
that.
card went
It was
big.
the pharmacy. Add me. Rick Shank Rick. You're gonna have to send that to me in Messenger. I'm not gonna remember that, Sean.
People stood online for that.
I'm gonna take it. Uh, people stood online.
Yeah,
Well,
for that Xbox and that
I know they
PlayStation
did because
and for that graphics card.
my nephew had me drive him to the GameStop over here in Five Towns,
Yeah.
not far from me. And the guy, as soon as we walked through the door, he says, "If you came here for any pre-orders on Xbox, they were gone half hour after we opened the door. Guys were sleeping out here from 3 o'clock in the morning to be first." So I know that graphics card.
Crazy.
Hey, Geeks, hey, the flyby guys, check out Geeks Vana channel. He does a lot of good drone news. He's also one of those guys. Michael Blade, how are you? He has a great channel. He does drone news. He's on all of social media. But I say all of social media. Guess my PS PlayStation name, Flyby Guys. I couldn't even begin to guess because don't say it's the Flyby Guys. is my host on our live. Are you serious?
What happened?
Flyby Guys is the host on Sean's stream.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, David, how are you? Desmond's down
Good,
there. Okay, see, you learn something new every day.
David. Okay,
Well,
so
then you know I'm not saying nothing
it's
bad about him. He's a great
a
guy,
small
great
world.
character, and everything. And
Small world.
what happened?
Said it's a small world.
Yes, it is. It is. And the fact that you guys are from Newfoundland and he's from the UK, I'm telling Herman slowly and more, we're starting to get more international supporters compared to what we get here locally in the
World
States,
is
which
world.
we love. We love to be able to communicate with someone from around the world. For those of you who don't know, Feet on the Ground, he's from Australia. Geeks Von is from the UK. Classic, I think, is from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Michael Blade? Where are you from, Michael Blade? Flyby guys are from Newfoundland. Desmond Donders
Hey, Tom.
is from where, Paul? Hey, Tom.
Desmond Donders, he's from Scotland.
Okay. Okay. So is it Michael Blades from Rhode Island? For some reason, I thought you were from overseas.
Right over here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's here in New York with us. Then Rhode Island isn't too far from NYC. If we can survive this second wave, guys, maybe we could get together and fly sometime. Right about now, I'm like, yo, get away from me. What's good, Tom? How are you, man?
Surviving.
That's what I tell people. I've made it to another day, and I'm gonna
Yep.
try and make it to another one. You know, and I pray when I come in the house, I don't start coughing or catch a runny nose and stuff like that.
In the house.
I'm following
Even
the
though my
former advice, staying away from people.
Oh yeah. Oh.
True, because I actually came in the house, but it had to do with the sudden change in weather. About 2 days ago, my sinus started draining here.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
ran to the store
Happens to me
and
all the
got two of
time.
those Energy C packets
Mhm.
and downed them in one drink, and that runny nose was gone.
Get your flu shots yet?
Yes, oh hell, I have to because I have COPD second stage, so it's
Yeah.
a major requirement that I do.
Yep.
Yeah, my doctor says from now on, dude, we have like 34 cases of COVID in total, but all of South Australia is in lockdown for 6 days because
Yeah.
that's how bad that shit spreads, man.
Well, the only right way to do it, unfortunately, is you got to lock down and you got to get past a certain period. And
Well,
you know,
to show you how
stuff though,
serious it is,
stuff.
we just got a package today. My
They just
mother-in-law
left it and ran.
bought one for this house here and one for upstairs. I'm gonna try and lift it, but she got because we have respiratory issues here, so she's got a we've got an
Air cleaner.
an air cleaner. Now the trick to making this work is you don't let nobody in your damn house.
Well, you know, we're fortunate because I don't know what it was, but back in December, I bought a couple of air cleaners, one for my office area, one for the bedroom.
Yeah,
You know, we had gone through, especially when we were out in Vegas, they don't have hay fever, they have desert fever out there. The dust kicks up in the high winds and
Yeah.
causes you a little bit of angst. But then we got back and we got hit with all the pollen last year.
Right.
And we said, you know what? Breathe easier. And we were lucky because it's made a big difference in the house. It really has. It was tough to get air filters for a while.
well,
You know, people were hoarding air filters in April and May.
It was. Hey, Drone Fox, Ireland. How are you? And welcome to Wednesday nights with those guys. Well, we got 2 boxes. My mother-in-law,
Welcome.
like I said, ordered a unit for the apartment upstairs,
One for upstairs.
and they gave us a box with extra filters.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
one or
that's the
two
way to
extra
do it.
filters in
Yeah.
it. So
All right.
No, it makes a big difference. It's good. And we've been staying away from people and, wearing a mask, and we go grocery shopping.
hey,
We
Audley
got,
said, "What's up, Tom?
hey, what's up? What's up, one?
How
We,
are you, Drone Fox Ireland? And welcome to Wednesday nights with those guys.
Yes. Welcome. Good evening, everyone.
I've never seen your
Audley, great
channel
stuff.
before.
Man, I've been watching your stuff, Audley.
That's
Great
good.
stuff, man.
You notice the real difference with using it, Tom? With the
Yeah, definitely. The air. Oh, definitely makes a big difference. And actually, the one I have in my office right behind me here, it has an automatic, so it's got like 3 different speeds.
Okay.
And especially when I had the window open too, and it'll start to pick up on its own because it's sensing something, and it does a real good job. I do feel the air is a lot cleaner. So
I watched a infomercial with one, and they had a thing where they were showing like how, like with water and this other thing, it was showing like how it changes, how the filters actually work in this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeping the air, because they use I think 3 different types of filters.
yeah, well, this one I have also has a hey Stevie, this one also has an ionizer too. So it changes the electrical charge.
Yeah,
which makes it easier for the filter.
It changes the charge
Right.
of the air. coming.
Yeah, but it also makes it easier then for the particulate matter to stick to the filters. You know, you
Right.
have a two-stage filter there.
Exactly.
You have a HEPA filter, high efficiency particle filtration filter, and then you have a charcoal filter. So the charcoal filter helps with the smelly socks and
It's funny you're talking about all this stuff, and I'm looking at this one is a 4-in-1. So you have the electrostatic charge plate
right,
that attracts the particles from the air,
right.
and I'll probably sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, mine wasn't that bad because I think for the one in my office, it's a much larger one than the one we have in the bedroom. I think
Right.
I paid $100-something for. The one in the
Okay.
bedroom was only like $80 or $90.
Okay.
But again, if Dyson had one out, it would probably be $900 for
Yeah,
the Dyson version.
You're right
Okay,
about that.
but
You're right about that. Hey, Drone Fox Ireland, I supported your channel. I have not had a chance to check it out yet, but I'm actually going to click on the bell as the reminder. Like, sorry, I got a text in the middle of that one. As a reminder, I'm clicking the bell on your page so I can it'll remind me your videos will actually come up and I can check out your stuff. I see you're a drone pilot there, and we welcome drone pilots. If you have that now, I'm actually, this is the point where I'm actually subscription whoring for those guys. But if you have drone buddies
Hey,
that
Therese, what's up?
want to come through and hang out and get their numbers up on their YouTube channels, and also check out a live stream that most of the time has informative news, drone news or something related. Come hang out, come back with us. The flyby guys started hanging. We're trying to build a
Well, it's
crowd
not
here
just drone
of
news.
decent people. And don't forget to click that like button. Ray Kelly, what's up? EBR,
Hey, Ray
FPV.
Kelly. It's
Can
not
I
just
make
drone news, Lawrence. It's just everything surrounding the unmanned
EBR?
world.
Hold on. Okay, can I make that announcement about that motor giveaway on Thanksgiving next weekend, real quick? Okay, those of you know that I'm flying FPV. I'm giving away 4 NIN motors, 28 EBR. This is for you and anyone who flies FPV. 4 NIN
Aerials, what-
2806.5 1750 kV motors, and Night Train is giving away a 6-inch frame on Thanksgiving evening. All you have to do is, I gotta get to the video, is go to this video here and hashtag or type in tower dive. And if you fly FPV and live in the United States or Canada, you qualify. Okay, Sun. Hey, what's up, Sunwater Media? So EBR, go to that video, leave in the comments tower dive or hashtag tower dive. And on Thursday night, Thanksgiving night, Night Train's going live, and we're going to give away the motors and a frame there. So in order to qualify, you have to have tower dive, at least to qualify for the motors. I would assume this would be this. I don't know what he's doing for the frame, but they're gold too, FYI, which I can't seem to find one, of course. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
David's messing with you.
Here you go. Nice and gold and shiny. 2806.5s, 1750. If you don't cruise, you may with these. What happened? What did David say?
He's not eligible to win, David.
Desmond, you would just get the propellers caught in your beard. Let's stay away from FPV.
No, he said
Huh?
that you'll probably win the frame.
I'll probably win the frame. That's yeah, right. To try and get me to build something before the year is out. But anyway, thanks for the announcement. So EBR, please, whether you cruise or not enter, you could either win a 6-inch frame.
Mhm.
I don't remember the name of it, but on Night Train's FPV, the whistle stop Thursday night.
Yes.
He's going to mention it tomorrow night also. So
Yeah, he mentioned it last week. You guys are gonna mention it up until, and you left the link for the video they have to leave the comment on, right?
Yes, I just put the link. I put the link. I'll put it again, EBR, in case you missed it. And hashtag tower dive. Now you have to be an FPV pilot. So don't, I know there'll be a few people that don't fly FPV and say, what about me? And you will not qualify
Well,
unless you
have
own
to be
something
an
FPV.
FPV pilot to win them.
Huh?
Why
Yeah,
have to?
yeah, yeah. Because then that would knock out people who are real FPV pilots. We'll have more people that are not
I
FPV.
thought it was a contest.
What's
All of
the
a sudden, these terms and conditions.
what's
I
what's
mean,
the drone?
this is starting to get deep here.
I think we need a long list of terms and conditions for everybody to sign, you know?
And
Listen,
has this been registered with Consumer Affairs yet? Just
Uh-oh.
asking.
listen. All I can say is, all I can say is, it's
It's not your
sponsored
contest.
sponsored by those
Sean?
guys FPV. Okay, and
Okay.
since Sunrise Media just commented tower dive,
I
I
gotta
appreciate it. Sunrise
start going hashtag those guys
Sunrise
LLC.
Water Media. I have not seen. Hold on, let me go check your channel out because I will go by and support your channel. There it is. Clicky click, number 46. Sunrise Water Media. Thank you very much. I see you have some drone stuff here. Let me click the bell so I can remember to go back to that as well.
I
All
see
right.
everybody
Thank you for the support.
that Mini 2 now.
What happened?
Everybody seems to be enjoying that Mini 2.
Yes, a lot of people are. I haven't seen any complaints. Really, I really have.
I have, but I haven't heard an uproar. But I've seen a few videos there that Billy's put out, and I don't see anybody complaining too much about it. How's you enjoying yours, Paul?
I don't have one.
You
No?
don't have a Mini too?
I bought it and sold it.
Oh. Dun, dun, dun.
And the plot thickens. I'll be right back. Give me a
The
second.
shrink wrap never left the box, right, Paul?
No,
Breaking
no,
news.
I flew it. It's great. It's a great drone, but I
Okay.
passed it on to John Coopy.
Breaking news.
Slightly used.
Yes, very slight.
Hey, why
How much of a discount, Paul?
once the tire
Some of us might want to get
on.
online
I think
Yeah, for when you get the next one.
for the Inspire.
you got all the extras.
Every time the tires touch down on the road, you know what they say about that.
Accessorized. Yep.
Yeah, once you pull
Depreciation.
once you pull it off the showroom floor.
Depreciation, baby. I'm going to buy me a slightly used, hardly used RV very soon. Okay, because
All right.
everybody who's bought one this year and then realized it was a lot more than they
Hey, John Cooper.
bargained for.
Yeah,
right?
they're gonna I can't do this.
Yeah. Nah, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
I like room service.
Oh yeah, you get a lot of
So-
great things like that, especially when those things appear at dealerships. Get a good deal on them.
Well, the bigger problem is, you drive those off the lot, you're 20 to 25% depreciation within a day, so,
Yeah.
and then people are usually upside down on those things anyway, because they borrow too much money on it. And,
Oh, boy.
they give you like a 20-year term on those things.
Did he have Care Refresh on it? JSK?
Care Refresh, it's a lifesaver.
Time to fly. I see your comment.
Ron Brown.
Hey, Ray, I think I follow Tula is one of the subscriptions
John
I have on
Coopy, what's
YouTube.
good, man? Yo, John Coopy, you got to enter too, man. We're giving away some motors and a frame on Night Train's live stream.
John also got a really good deal on an MA2.
Go to this video, John Coopy. It's my video and hashtag tower
Did
dive
you-
or put the words tower dive.
Did you buy an MA2 you sold him too?
Yeah,
Is
he
that
did.
the case?
Mhm.
Yeah, you did.
Mhm.
He did.
John Coopy got one. Yep.
So John Coopy, that's your
So John
Okay,
Coopy,
I saw-
did you make sure you're in his living trust also? Or, I mean, like, You know, Paul's probably got a mountain of technology there that'll have to be divvied out. We'll have to go to probate. I love my Mavic Air too. It's
Okay.
actually performing beyond my expectations.
Well, they're gonna replace it, right? Not repair it, right? Yeah, they're gonna replace that. They're not gonna fix it.
Well, if you got care refreshed on it,
Well, it was in the warranty
Express.
anyway,
Well,
from what he was saying.
you're better
John-
off. I mean, if you
John
got care
Coopy says
refresh.
Paul has great use tech. Of course, it's great use tech. He just slits the plastic open, slides it out, flies it, puts it back, and seals the plastic again.
Got to just get one of those machines. That's all.
Grant Ariel says he still loves his Mavic, original Mavic Air.
Okay.
Which requires recovery of the drone.
Well,
Yeah, care refresh definitely requires. Yeah. There've been some boating trips just to make sure you could
No
recover
problem,
that.
Drone
Yeah.
Fox.
well,
We
I've
try to
seen
support
some things.
everyone's channel. What were you saying, Herman?
No, he was saying there was been some boating trips to recover some drones, and
Recover a drone or two.
I've
Yes,
seen
and
some things.
there's some adventure videos right on YouTube. You can
Yeah.
watch people try to.
along,
One guy flew.
along,
One guy tried to fly through a spill basin tunnel in a reservoir by a waterfall, and
Okay.
unfortunately he lost connectivity. And then he had to hike down into the waterworks and go through the tunnel, and that's risky because if they ever decide to divert water, you're in the middle of it. But his whole thing was to recover the drone because even with damage,
he lost his drone. It's gone and went
DJI
down.
refresh makes all the difference.
Well, it's that State Farm seems to help.
Well,
Just
State
in
Farm
case
is
you
at
can't
loss, yeah. But
recover it.
the only problem with State Farm on the loss is you do that a few times and you wind up on the wrong list.
Well, what I'm
Well,
just
we
saying,
found
in
that.
case you
We
can't recover.
found that out with our buddy. Lost 4 drones in 3 months, buddy.
Yeah, well, that problem is that kind of stuff sticks with you like a bad bankruptcy, man. The insurance companies start to list you as a risk. It becomes difficult in a lot of arenas.
State Farm stops covering drones as of next year.
Next year. Yeah, I heard the same thing. I didn't know whether it was true or not, but yeah, that's there's a few avenues in which to insure your drones.
John Coopy, did I hear you just say one of your drones is going to hit the wall before it expires? What's up, Jackson RC? How are you, sir?
Yeah, oddly, Allstate still does, but they're talking about not handling the personal policies. There's a few different ways, though, you can go about insuring your drone. I mean, one, of course, is DJI Care Refresh. What's good about that is no matter how much you bash it up, if you're during the period, you can do the Care Refresh Express.
Right.
And basically, once it arrives on their side, it's they ship out on your side. I've used it twice over the last 3 years. And I would say it averaged about 6 to 7 days turnaround, which I was pretty well impressed with. I know there's been horror stories out there, but
yeah, that's what I did my V2, Tom. When I got it, the camera was doing some funny thing,
right?
And they didn't even go through the refresh. They went through because of warranty, and they just sent you another one.
No, John Coopy, I don't think that would have been. You see what he put?
What?
So funny enough, I avoided State Farm because I did not want an insurance claim for the drone on my records. Was afraid it may affect other forms of insurance.
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't right away. A policy at that threshold really doesn't right away. But
because it's so minimal. Hey, B Mac.
If you have 3 or 4 of those, you line up in a row within an 18-month period, you definitely wind up on a list. So but there, like I said, there are other ways. There's Skywatch. IO, there's Verifly, there's a couple of them that actually even provide hull insurance. And some of them now provide hull insurance. So it's known as HULL, hull insurance, because it's an aircraft.
Hey,
For
Corey.
even recreational flyers. So you can get insurance even as a recreational flyer. So if something happens to your drone.
I tell you
If you're a member of, like I am, Professional Photographers of America, my equipment's even covered under there and equipment policies. So my camera gear,
Not your rolling.
even in my
That's
action cameras, are automatically covered under my PPA membership for loss or damage.
Yeah, so is my camera. But what I found was the issue with State Farm with me was they didn't understand DJI. Like whenever there's a repair issue or something like that and it's covered under care refresh or it was covered under the warranty, they would send you another one. Now the insurance company is insuring the drone.
You have to change the serial number with them. Yeah, and it creates a havoc for the agent.
And they were
the agent's
asking me, why did they give you another one? I said, well, it's under warranty.
Well, the agent got $1.62 commission on that whole, policy he wrote. Okay, so you even calling him to say hello already ate up whatever profit he was getting off of that, right? So now you got to follow a policy amendment by relisting a new serial number. He's got to fill out a form. It's like that kind of stuff.
I go down.
I just went through this with the e-bikes. I insured the e-bikes.
Right.
I didn't know, on the homeowner's policy. Yeah, are they covered? Yeah, but are they really covered when I'm off site? Are they covered if I hit somebody or somebody hits me or, So we went with a company called Velo Insurance.
Okay.
And we got insurance on both bikes. And, of course, we live in the New York area. Our insurance was higher. But, you pay a couple of grand for a bike. You want to make sure it's insured. And plus, it's got roadside assistance also. They'll send a van to come pick us up and drive us within a 50 miles of the pickup location.
Right.
Wow.
Pick up the bikes and us. So, but, with the drone insurance, you can do it on demand.
Hey, show. It's good. Explicit.
Through companies like Skywatch and Verifly.
Okay.
But yeah, I know. Audley said, it's a bummer that Care Refresh requires you to recover the drone. Audley, just imagine if it didn't, what it would cost.
Explicit, go to that link. Explicit, go to that link and leave a hashtag, Tower Dive, giving away some motors in a frame.
Right. You might end up having to pay for it monthly.
Yeah, exactly.
Night train.
Yeah, because we know a few people that might have put
with
in
all the clauses that they
claims.
have in the insurance. You really have to ask so many questions before you get a damn policy.
Well, like anything else, you gotta do your research. I mean, what's covered, what's not.
Hey, drone shots. What's good, man?
When I first started out with UAVs and UASs, I had to actually insure through a standard aviation company. I had to insure with the company I, had insurance with. It was, and they looked upon drones as a liability, so my insurance rates were higher. So.
Hey, Ryan.
But now those companies are seeking out drone pilots to insure.
Right.
Okay.
So there's competition in the market right now.
Ryan JL says great conference yesterday at Coney for the Drone Journalism Leadership Conference. FAA on track to finalize remote ID in previous stated timeline, shooting for the year's end. Well, they claim by December 31st, they're ready to flick the
drone
switch
shots
on a lot of stuff.
Well, I told you, expect it as a present under the Christmas tree. The FAA is going to drop it on you.
Hey, it's funny you guys mentioned the FAA and things like that, but I had the pleasure of checking out a sit down with Mr. Dixon and some children, some grade school kids, and I think a couple of them might have been in the junior high level, and about this what they have there was a drone camp in a box.
Yeah.
And I guess this year it was virtual this summer for the kids. and they got to build a drone and talk about, learn about drones, but really at this camp. And different kids, they got to share their experience at the camp with Mr. Dixon and letting him, talk. They mentioned to him about because I guess with the project, one of the projects they had to do at the camp was build a business, a drone business.
Around it. How could you use it commercially?
Right, exactly. And they had a little, fun doing that at camp. And each kid, had a different experience that they spoke on. And he also spoke with them about the space launch and stuff like that. I thought it was a very interesting sit down.
Well, think about it. You have to mention the space launch because the vehicle that those astronauts went up in is the actual drone that was up for 700 and something days.
Well, here's what you got to realize, okay? The U.S. government and other governments are in charge after it winds up in space. Before it winds up in space, the FAA is responsible for the airspace over the U.S. So realize something. We're not just talking about Cape Canaveral anymore, okay? We're talking about six plus spaceports throughout the United States. And remember, where there are spaceports, there are still commercial aircraft flying overhead. So the FAA is charged with the responsibility of deconfliction and coordinating flights, and also spaceport launches. Part of that falls under the FAA's responsibility. So, in him mentioning that, it's like broadening the horizons that these kids have in front of them as far as opportunities. It was nice to see and refreshing to see that he said, as a result of them flying those drones, they're pilots and they should act accordingly. Dixon's an ATP. He's an air transport pilot.
Yeah, I didn't
himself.
know that until you had mentioned that in that conversation.
Yeah.
Well, John Coopy put that the FAA talking to a bunch of kids, and I felt like he was BSing them. I kind of got that thought. Also, I kind of thought that the same way, but the fact that he made time out of his schedule to do this, I thought was a good step.
Yeah, I don't know that he related to them on their level. I would have taken a different approach, but he's a little stiff in that regard. But I have to agree with you, Lawrence. It's at least motions or steps in the right direction, right?
Right. Because we know Tony Frankie Reed. He's an NYC 5-borough drone meetup. He's
correction
in a STEM program. He's taking himself and he's trying to get to go into schools here in New York City and around the United States,
introduce kids
and get them interested in the STEM program, because a lot of schools don't know this, and I can only speak for New York City, but a lot of schools outside of New York City don't know this, that there is a budget for STEM programs. All you have to do is inquire, and with any city agency, you'll also know. If you don't ask, they're not going to tell you.
True.
So
that is true.
So the fact that Tony Frankie Reed is going from, and Herman and I were talking about this briefly before the live stream, he's going to these schools and saying, look, I would like to show you that you could also qualify for a STEM program and have kids interested in this stuff. And he goes
getting kids excited about anything.
And he teaches them how to program the
well, that's part of it.
Open source.
Well, you introduce them to a lot of things that way. It's not just flying the drones, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just think about the industries that have to be built around this technology to support it.
That's
the applications, the programming applications, the support,
Yes.
everything that goes into it, building them.
Mm-hmm. Each of the kids
from
had a different
designing them, flying them. Yeah.
When you talk about that, the fact that each of the kids had a different experience, that they've learned something different in the camp, whereas that could take them all in different aspects of the whole community of drones, especially when you're talking about some of the topics that we talk about here with what Tom mentioned, something about security. We talked about managing these companies that do security systems and stuff like that, and talking with, you know, how these colleges now are producing kids that are going to be working. They want people who are going to be able to work with them, with the FAA, to build and keep this thing evolving. And I think that that is a great step for these kids to just spark their interest. You know, one kid, he's stressed about his knowledge that he learned about batteries. That's one of the things we complain about the most. This kid might be one of these kids that work on the next project to make that next battery, you know, from where
Yeah,
we
well, that's the thing. You don't know where it's going to come from, right?
right. And that's
So where that interest sparks could come from a lot of different places. These kids could go down a different road entirely. You know, one kid could turn around and go, "Hey, you know, I'm thinking about how can I modify this frame or something I'm building?" So gets into 3D printing, then realizes, "Hey, I'm actually enjoying this design work," and then goes into the design realm, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of roads this can take.
Yes.
Again, presenting opportunities.
Actually,
Okay.
it was one young kid that was already racing.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, you know, come on. These kids are raised with something connected to their fingers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They don't know playing stickball out on the street between two sewer covers. I mean, that's not
That's
them.
true.
That's not them anymore. This
You're
is a
right.
different world today.
You're
You
right.
know?
Each time a car went down the street bellowing carbon monoxide, you
Yeah.
went back in the street and kept playing.
You hacked a little more. You get yeah.
Car.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
That's
that
what it
was our mantra.
Car. Once
That
you
was
hear
our mantra.
car, the whole block clears, the car goes
Yeah.
through, and you fill the block back in.
That's it.
But
Right.
it's different. There are different times. These children are already learning electronics and computers before they can walk.
Oh, I mean,
Hey,
come
Roger.
on. You don't see a
Hey,
toddler
Roger.
today without their own iPad. Jeez. Okay. I mean, you know, they already know how to leverage some of this. Now you're giving them additional realms to flex that mental muscle with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and explore different areas. I mean, that's exciting for these kids.
Right.
You know, but hey, the FAA is the FAA. We know that they're steeped in bureaucracy and everything else. But you know, look, let's not throw out whatever little silver linings we come across here. Okay, we've been saying for a while now that without STEM education in this country, we're going to continue to fall flat on our faces, and rightly so. So wherever we can take
Yeah.
the opportunity. Now, look, I'm a grandparent, okay, and one thing I do is I have a subscription where I send my grandkids these kits from KiwiCo,
Mm-hmm.
okay, KiwiCo.com, guys. I'm not getting any kind of referral for this, but they're little kits and they're age group specific, and they can be either in the arts or engineering or math, and you can choose different paths or have combination kits.
Okay.
And they send out a little activity kit each month to the grandkids.
Okay.
And it's great because, you know, I'll hear back that they like this or didn't like that, and then I'll like tweak it a little. Okay. So the next time they get something that's more specific to their interest. And it's good because, you know, first off, it's good as a grandparent. You got something to converse with your grandkids on, right? But the other thing is just to see the excitement or the interest in them, that, you know, something clicked there,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And now I have my grandson's a U.S. sailor going into network engineering in the Navy.
Okay.
So,
That's
you
great.
know, it's
See?
good to see.
Listen,
great.
anytime you can teach a child something that doesn't involve playing video games,
Well, today, leveraging those video games, right?
I know,
Well, right.
I know, but
That is the thing, Tom.
I know, which makes it harder because my nephew, my favorite nephew, is how old is Scott?
Your favorite
In
nephew.
his 30s. He's in his early 30s, but I had to teach him at 18 how to throw a football, at 17 how to throw a football, where we knew how to throw a football as soon as we could throw something.
That's how we socialized.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's funny because we do come from
Hey,
different
show, you
generations.
talk about chemistry sets. I used to have
Oh,
two
man.
chemistry sets, and the erector sets were really unsharpened razor blades because you could get cut with an erector set.
Well,
You
first
get
off, I
cut the
had
hell
this
up.
monster maker machine.
Mhm.
It was a heat vacuum press as a kid. Okay.
Okay.
And you would put these sheets of plastic in, and you know, they would outgas, of course, when
Mhm.
you put them on the mold and plugged in the thing, and the heating element sucked them together, and now you had one half of your monster as you
Right.
sucked in the fumes
Oh,
above
I
it. Okay.
remember that.
Or the
I remember the
chemistry
monster
kits.
maker. I
Yeah,
remember
or the
that, dude.
chemistry kits they had to keep removing different chemicals from because kids were
They
blowing up
did.
half the
They
house.
did because
Right?
they did. You want to know how I know that's true, Tom? Because my first chemistry set changed colors on things and did stuff. Then my
Oh, yeah.
my second chemistry set my mother got me later on when I was a lot smarter had little simple samples. They were like, take a swab and wipe inside your mouth. But we had chemicals you could mix and see chemical reactions and stuff. With
Yep. Have stuff boil
and
over.
forget about the
That was
fumes.
back in the day of lead paints.
Oh, well, yeah. It was the
Yeah.
best, you know, and the asbestos paint.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
you know, and you know what was funny was I knew I was in technology at an early age. It was just my folks didn't realize it, right? We had a show on TV back in the
Like
day
that light guys.
called Winky Dink. In
Okay.
fact, you could send away for this kit, and it would be a
The
piece
little
of plastic,
plastic
clear
things that you
plastic,
shrink
and a
down.
marker, and
Yes.
you would stick it to the TV. And Winky Dink, you'd have to rescue Winky Dink because Winky Dink would jump out of a plane, but he didn't have a chute. So they would stop it right there and say, okay, kids, draw a parachute on Winky Dink so you can save him, right? Well, I kept on asking my parents, and they were like, no, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that. So I kind of took it upon myself to take the marker to the TV set one day. And the problem was it wasn't coming off.
You didn't
And
have
then
the
when-
Winky Dink on the TV.
Yeah, and then when my dad went to turn on Eyewitness News that evening with Roger Grimsby.
You remember
Okay.
that? Roger Grimsby.
Yeah, Roger Grimsby, right? And I was doghouse wasn't the word for it. Okay. There wasn't a woodshed big enough in Queens. I'll put it that way. Okay. But you know, you look at it and you know, and my brother's story was he was collecting first edition comic books. And mom threw them away because his room was messy.
Right.
Okay. You know, so
Yeah,
so my
you're right,
brother was
B-Mac.
aspiring to be American Pickers. Meanwhile, I
Grimsby
was
and Butel.
aspiring to be a graphic artist, you know,
Mhm.
and our parents didn't
Hey,
support
you
that.
want to know what else?
No,
You want to know what else was
it
toxic?
wasn't practical.
Hey, Tom, real
Yeah.
quick. You want to know what else was toxic, but they gave us as children? You remember they came with the shrinky dinks?
Mhm.
You cut it out. You cut
And
it
put 'em
out.
in the oven.
You cut it and you put it in the oven.
And then you make a meal right after
the
that too.
whole house smelled like chemicals.
Yeah, then you make a
But they
meal.
had
Or
other
the
things
easy
too,
bake
with
oven.
little beads you put in the thing.
Yeah, remember the easy bake oven?
That was a light bulb.
The light bulb.
That was
cake?
a light bulb. Yeah,
With
but the light bulb,
cake.
the light bulb was your heat source. So
My sister had
realize
bake
it
oven
was a
every
small light bulb that was overpowered.
You know what's funny about that, Tom? You know that's what you paid for, right?
Hmm.
That light bulb.
Yeah. Yeah, you paid for the light bulb.
That light bulb was the whole thing in a nutshell right there.
Yeah.
Because I work in the industry and I found out that there's bulbs that cost more than the damn fixture that it sits in.
Right. So Brant Ariel says lawn darts. Lawn darts with two Irish guys in a pub. Okay. Laughing over a pint. Okay. We're gonna take these outdoors and throw them at each other. You know that's how lawn darts started. Okay.
Well,
So
we almost went squirrel, but yes,
Yeah.
my sister had an easy.
no, this is just the
oven.
evolution of technology.
Yeah.
My sister had an easy bake oven every year, and I swear those cakes tasted like crap. But they started getting better. They started making the formulas better. But by that time, she was already bored with it.
Lawrence, you're trying to use what is partially what they call brownie mix and hot chocolate mix and bake it with a light bulb that's designed to heat up an area.
And if you put enough sugar in it, did we as kids ever say anything?
No, but here's
Right.
something, Tom, that I thought about, and it cost me an ass whipping because I got my behind beat for this. They came standard with a 75 watt light bulb. And I thought if you put a 100 watt in there, it would cook faster. We put the 100 watt inside the easy bake oven and we smelt the cake and we took the cake out and it cooked really fast, but inside the oven was melting.
Yep.
Right, because it's
I caught a
bulb
beat down for
socket
that
and
one.
that bulb was all rated to be together.
What's up, Eddie Nunez?
So,
You wanted to put it
Eddie,
in.
how are you, bro?
I caught
See,
a beat down
Corey
for that.
Corey Mano says the 60s atomic lab kits actually contain 4 types of uranium ore,
Mhm.
and you are 100% correct there.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Yes, they did.
There was also there were a couple of different the U-238 game, I think it was. There was a couple of games out there, and then there were the light up wristbands that were released
That
early
had
on
radioactive
Right.
isotopes in them.
that had isotopes
Yeah,
in them.
yeah, I remember.
Okay, I mean you know how sick you were going to get to know the story, but yeah, it is
Like the gloves that changed colors once you went out.
Well, if you saw
Yeah.
on my Facebook, I posted the picture. I took it from my uncle or someone else, and I said I have to share this. The water fountain that you drank from in the park, the stone
Mhm.
water fountain,
Yeah.
and it says if you
Yeah, we drank from
this, if you drank
you're
from
immune
this,
to everything now.
right, you're immune. You're freaking immune.
Dude, we drank out of those like it was. Yeah, come on.
But back then, people didn't let their dogs drink out of them either.
No, but also we didn't get money from our parents to just go buy
Yeah.
drinks. You were going out to the
Yeah.
park. There's water there.
But
Right.
it was
Yeah.
you're right.
Drink out of the
You're right.
drink out of the fountain, or find a hydrant.
Yeah, you remember that?
Mhm.
I drank from the
Yeah.
hydrant. Nobody, it never. They say you shouldn't, but I'm still
I
here.
remember kids getting the hydrant. I mean, the hydrant is your water
Right,
system.
you're
bro.
right, Show. Radium
If-
paint made with radium. That's how they
Yeah.
glow.
After you clear the hydrant with a flush, it's fine, man. But it's like starting any faucet that hasn't been opened in a while.
Mhm.
Let it run a little.
So yeah, that's like I said, those things. As long as we talk about, you say we want squirrel, but those just like how things evolve from from childhood and things.
No, but you get these kids exposed. They
Right.
start thinking out of the box. Okay.
Mhm.
They start. I mean, come on. What was our entry into engineering and stuff like that?
Wood
Okay.
shop.
For me, it
Wood
really,
shop.
yeah. Well, I went to aviation high school, so I did exploratory wood, exploratory sheet metal. I had to do machine shop, hydraulics,
Happy Hump Day,
the
Metro.
electrical, so that opened up a whole world to me. But you know what? I think one of the number one toys out there that's opened up the realm to a lot of kids was and continues to be Legos.
Well, that's what I was gonna tell you. I had those.
So
I had
where is the
building sets,
Legos
too.
drone?
Well,
Where is the Legos drone? That's
We-
gotta come, man. Come on. Lawrence,
you
why
know,
are you
they've done
sitting around?
everything else Lego.
Or I look at the screen and he disappears. Lawrence, you gotta build a frame around the Legos and start to market that, baby.
You want to know what? Someone told me this at least 5 to 6 years ago. He said, watch out for the company Lego because they'll be top in robotics. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? He said, I happen to read a article in something, you remember
Woodley, 1974.
Popular Science magazine?
Mm-hmm.
But this magazine is on that level because they don't have Popular Science. But he was saying how Lego is working on robotics and getting into it really, really hard. Now,
They just
also
released
built an engine, a Bugatti,
Mm-hmm.
ran from steam out of Lego parts.
Well, the thing is that they have covered a few different realms here, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're really a steam product when you really think about it, because you have the art and the design side of it as well. But that's they just released, what did I just see? One of their largest kit ever, I believe. I think it's 90,000 pieces. It's the Roman Colosseum
Mhm.
to accurate
Well,
scale detail.
Well, do you know there's a college you go to become a super builder? And
Well,
super builders are
did
those
anybody
guys
catch
who,
the show this
right,
I
past
saw it.
year?
right, the super
Yeah,
builders,
yeah.
they actually they had a Lego show, but these super
Yeah,
builders,
that's part of
after
how
going,
us lost their shirt.
well, these
Huh?
super builders
Yeah.
get paid to go build things in Lego. You'll get a giant crate with a million pieces, and
I've
they
seen
say
it.
put it together and make this
Yeah.
Lego dragon or
I've
make
seen it,
Yeah.
Marge.
Lego silhouette of someone, and it's a real job going
I've
around.
seen it done. Yeah, they do. When we did Toys R Us on Times Square,
Yeah.
you remember that big Toys R Us, and they had the big Ferris wheel inside and the
Mhm.
big Lego dinosaurs and all that other stuff. They had the people come from Lego and build out all of that stuff out of Lego.
Those are those
And
super builders.
Yeah.
and
Stevie,
then that
Capture
Toys R
Life
Us went belly
Connection.
up.
He says his first drone flight was one of the Star Wars toys.
Okay.
Okay. Now, which one was it? Was it the X-wing fighter? Which way did you
Millennium
lean
Falcon.
there?
Come on, Stevie, which one was it? Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, remember that? Who
But,
was it? Was that Brookstone? Who released those?
What happened?
All right.
Who released those? Oh, Millennium
Okay,
Falcon.
Paul.
Okay, Paul.
Take care. What were they? Was that Brookstone who released the Star Wars drones? I
I
forget.
don't know who it was.
Or were they just out there?
Yes, it was some company that I couldn't. You know what? Thank goodness for Google.
Brookstone went the same way that Sharper Image did, right?
Hey,
No more retail.
What was it? The X-wing fighter, right?
Well, there was the
a
Millennium
couple of-
Falcon, there was the X-Wing fighter, and there was a third one also. And then that was the Imperial, I can't remember which one that was. Air Hogs, right.
Mhm.
Yeah, Air Hogs was the company.
So,
But they were sold through Brookstone and a couple of other places. I remember seeing them.
I do remember that. I do remember the
What, the,
limited Star Wars edition.
Star Wars? Yeah, I've seen
Propel
a
was
couple of
one
them.
company. A company called Propel was one company that tried to make drones. I'm actually on a site right now. Propel to release 1,977 limited edition Star Wars drones.
Okay.
Starting at $200, $100 cheaper than regular price, from what they're saying here. And you want to know what?
They're coming out now? Or
No,
they came out?
no. This is old stuff.
Oh, okay.
This is old stuff. And you want to know what? These are display garbage.
Okay.
They caught me. They caught me out there with the click.
So yeah, I found a little story that I thought was kind of interesting. This company,
Good night,
Zing,
Desmond.
Zing drone delivery.
Yeah.
They've
Uber,
joined
baby,
the
Uber.
they've joined the Beyond program. To use, well, they've tried to developing this system to use 107 pilots around the country
Go ahead. Keep talking.
to develop what do you call it? An all-in-one, should I say?
Drone delivery service for the
Well,
app.
a peer-to-peer
Can I-
peer-to-peer delivery service kind of
Yes.
situation.
Can I speak?
Go for it, bro.
Go ahead. Keep talking about it, Herman.
I'm saying they want to develop a peer-to-peer system, sort of like, not shouldn't say sort of, but just like Uber and Lyft. This is going to work with an app that drone pilots could have on their phone.
Yes.
And what I'm curious to know about it, because I listened to the whole thing, and just like they said with Uber and Lyft, that the driver with Uber and Lyft, if anybody's ever used it, I don't care if they know that they can turn down this street and cut up the block, but if the GPS tells them this is the way, that's the way they're going.
Good
And
night, Sean.
they stay on the GPS the whole ride. If the
Yes.
GPS diverts them, they follow wherever the GPS tells them to go. And with this system, I noticed when in that little video they were talking about that this is that they have a flight route, and this
Yes.
and this
They would have to, yeah.
They would check for prisons or schools or anything along the way and plan out this flight route.
Yeah, it would deconflict.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of
Well,
crazy
it's
because
Go ahead.
I actually spoke with Lawrence about it, before the show. And the one thing that we were interested in was like, because they're saying that now they want to be able to use drone pilots and they're off the shelf drones.
yes, because this is a
With
Mavic
this
2
whole
series.
delivery system that they
This
have.
is a Mavic 2 series that delivered actually some medication across the harbor to someone.
And this app, we're talking about being able to fly beyond the line of sight.
Now, what you also got to remember to mention, Herman, is the fact that let me stop this video. This Zing service, being that you would be almost like an Uber driver, it comes with a landing pad and software that once you get in the immediate area of your target spot, this landing pad, the drone locks on it due to software, which ensures safe descending or whatever it is to a low enough height where you can drop your package off.
Well, that means, think about it. That means you have to sign up to be a customer.
Yes, to
of
be a
this
customer.
service.
That's what it is. The
You
customer
have to
kit is
sign
that.
up.
Yes.
So as part of the sign up kit, they have to send you a landing pad.
Exactly.
Because otherwise, what am I doing as the peer pilot? Going around the corner from your place, dropping the landing pad, going around the corner, flying my drone just to get my flight time
Well, Tom,
and my 63-cent commission. I mean, come on.
I'm just curious to know how this is going to work because, like I said, you're going to commission 107 pilots to do this.
So, yeah.
And
well, they want the 107 pilots because of liability reasons.
Exactly.
Okay, let's be
that's
straight,
the video
right?
there.
And Audley from Digital Kite said, I'm worried about somebody yanking on, customer yanking on the cord. Well,
Actually,
the kit they sell you has a quick release. So if there's any pressure above a certain tensile amount,
it'll release.
Audley, watch that video because they do have a device that you clamp around your drone, depending on what style it is, and that in case someone tries to yank that cord, it will, like they said, quick release. But also the
Audley,
hook
watch
system,
that. That's your new side gig, Audley.
Yes, the hook system is designed so that as soon as the bag touches the ground, the hook releases and falls away.
Right. Now,
the thing with this is they're gonna
in certain neighborhoods in
I'm listening to.
Okay.
They're gonna wrap this with their software. That's how they're gonna stay compliant, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you won't actually be flying your drone.
Right.
They're eating. Remember what's happening.
They say
they're chewing on your battery. Well, look.
Well, you picked a route because it's going to tell you, hey,
this is
I can't fly
this is
18
Uber.
blocks this way, but I can go 6 blocks that way.
Yeah,
so
first off, you gotta.
Tells you.
You're gonna have to be a fixed location for them to get you product to deliver in your neighborhood. It becomes a hub and spoke, right, Herman?
Well,
I mean,
you're right.
That's all it is.
Because they saying that right now it's being developed in Kansas. They're working with Kansas Department of Transportation to develop this thing.
Right.
I don't see it coming off well because of the fact that you're looking to deliver food. And I know that people who deliver food, it's not a 107 pilot's wages that he can make honestly with his drone. There's other avenues, but I just want to know how they're going to be able to get food to people.
Well, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's where the big market is. Now, think about
but it's a start.
Well,
I'm with you.
again, no, and I don't think food is the start. I think it's small item
It
delivery.
is. They showed
I
in
think
the
it's
video, they show medication,
pharmaceuticals.
I
Okay,
understand.
glasses, you know, stuff
and
like that.
but here's what's going to happen. You live at 123 Main Street,
Mhm.
okay, and now they've identified a 12 block radius,
Mhm.
and so the Amazon truck stops at your door and
Mhm.
delivers 200 small items that you now have to repackage, or maybe they bring them ready to go, but now you have to
Put
take
them in
off
the
and land,
boxes.
take off
Yeah,
and land, take off and land, take off and land, and you're really not doing the flying, because
I
the
get
only
it.
way they're going to stay compliant is to have this AI, this
Yes,
autonomy
autonomous.
built in that
Yes.
flies their routes, their
Mhm.
sanctioned
Well,
beyond
hold on.
routes, right?
Grant Ariel
And
says,
yeah,
how do they deliver to the lady in apartment 1205? Well, as a
no, that's not
subscriber,
what's going to happen. This is not
right. But you
this.
have to be a subscriber, which this landing
Yeah,
pad also has to have something,
you have to go
maybe
outside and
that
put the landing
Get the
transmits.
pad out.
landing pad out the window.
No, no, you got to throw. Look. It's not for. This is an inner city.
No, I
Okay,
understand that.
this is this is ranch and bi-level
Mhm.
suburbia type of situation.
But Tom,
Yeah,
And actually,
definitely,
when you think
definitely.
about it, now let's think. Look, how many of you were duped by some of these drone pilot applications, and how much of you really, if any of you, made a living off of flying for some of these online companies doing these drone flights
That's true.
and getting
Like
a
the
whole
companies that
$14?
the companies,
Okay,
Tom, perfect, a perfect
yeah, but
example. The companies that pay you to go out and do 3D mapping, and if you
yeah,
do the job 100% correct, they can still tell you, no, we're not going to pay you for this job, and still keep your data.
right, because they owned it from the inception. Okay,
Yes.
but and you can't advertise with any of that video because they own that video, and you're not licensed to use that video, and you make a whole. You went out to 6 jobs that day, and you wind up with about $14 in commissions, and it doesn't even cover your wear and tear. It doesn't cover your transportation. It doesn't cover a lot of things. So
Right.
think this through before you sign up to be the next Uber in the air driver.
all I'm
Okay.
saying is that when you out there in the cold, smoking cigarettes, standing next to the guy that's delivering on the scooter, you're gonna be upset.
Right. When
He's
he's
taking
zooming
off
by you,
riding, and you're taking off down the
when
block
he's
the other
zooming by
way.
you with the glove warmers on, smoking a cigarette.
Hey, let's not knock that. I'm trying to, because I got the wife the e-bike, I'm trying to explore possibilities for her after retirement employment. Okay.
Listen, let
So
me explain something. My
get her
nephew,
to do some
my,
food delivery
my
right up.
Tom, my nephew has a friend who had recently had lost their job due to COVID, and she does Uber Eats
Mhm.
only
Yeah.
on the weekends. And she
Yeah.
says on the weekends because during the week and during the weekends in bad weather, because during the week it's so that the competition's higher. People are ordering when they come in from work. You know, you got to grab a meal here, grab a meal there. You got to pick up like 3 meals before you can make delivery. But the weekends that she does and the bad days like rain and snow are
Mhm.
better than working all week. So she says.
Okay.
So,
Well, hey, Bob
Tom,
Casey, how are you?
there is hope. There is hope. You know,
Hey
and
there,
then they
Bob.
have
Yeah, but
professional
you know what?
shoppers
You
as
gotta be smart when you walk into this. I mean, this type
hey,
of
Bob Casey, how are
operation,
you?
it's going to be a commission-based operation. You're going to be hustling. You
Right.
talk about these people. Look, you have the people who deliver for Amazon, do last mile deliveries, and
Right.
they don't know how many they bid on a lot, and they
Mhm.
go there. They don't know how many packages are in that.
Yep. And what
Okay.
neighborhood it's in either. You get the
And,
route
and
and then
no,
you have to go.
you could go well cross town and deal with all the traffic and everything just to get to your first stop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they
True.
optimize the area that you're
Right.
delivering
But you
packages
gotta
to,
go there.
but from where to where, and you don't know how many you're going to get, and you got a certain time frame. Like you're going to get this. They believe you can deliver these 38 packages within 3 hours, and you get $63. That's it. That's it.
You want to know?
So if it takes you 4 hours, you get a bad mark for that. But you
Yep.
still only get the
Yep.
$63.
Wow.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people that are using their own vehicles. Amazon, if you're
Well, they're all Well, Amazon has a deal where if you
can
work for
invest
Amazon, they'll
in the company.
sponsor you. They'll lease you a Sprinter,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and they'll provide you enough work.
Oh,
to
you're
pay
gonna have
that.
more than enough work, Tom.
Yeah. You'll
They
to
give you
pay
one of
that,
their
and
vans. You better fill.
you'll
That's
probably
great.
have to hire somebody, right? But they'll also give you a bonus of $10,000, which is basically covering your wages for
Mhm.
like
Hold on, Stevie.
an 8 to 10 week period.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I know I drove truck for Supply House, two of them here in the city, and
One
you know,
sec, Stevie. I
they
got you.
actually tell you how long you're expected to
Hey,
be
good
able
luck, Bob.
to do these routes
Congratulations.
around New York, and they actually put you in a specific area, like, well, basically how the trucks had Manhattan. They broke that up into like the 3 different regions, and then they had an uptown. But Brooklyn was Brooklyn. You had Brooklyn if you were in Brooklyn. Queens had Queens, and sometimes the Queens guy had to go
These
out
are
to
big
Long Island.
areas. Yeah.
And then when things got busier, they created what they called a special route.
Right.
And I had a route that made a couple of stops in Queens, a couple of stops in Brooklyn, and then I had to head to Jersey and then come back.
Right.
And they estimated 2 hours to go where I had to go in Jersey one way and 2 hours to come back. So that was they do have that all calculated. That, and this was years ago. And
no, I did
they
something
already know.
similar. Yeah, my side gig. When I came out of the service, I started working on an ambulance on midnights, and I drove for a photo company in the morning that delivered prints. Those the 24-hour prints out, and I would pick up in Long Island City, Queens. They had a little, I forget I think it was like a Hyundai XL or something like that.
Stevie Bronx, I sent that.
Okay, and I would have to drive out to Yaphank because that's where my route started. I would pick up all the drugstore photos or all the envelopes, put them in the car, and from Long Island City drive out to Yaphank and do 18 stops and then drive all the way back. And man, I did that 5 days a week and worked an ambulance 5 to 6 nights a week. But when you look at what I don't know, when you look at what these Uber drivers, and I'm not talking about Uber Eats. Uber Eats, I think, is a better deal because first off, I don't want other people in my car. So
yeah, I hear you.
And here in New York, unlike other places, you got to get a hack license, and you got to get special plates, and that means your insurance company is going to tap you for a lot more money on liability insurance. So, it becomes a very expensive proposition here to even drive for Uber.
Stevie, click the stop camera video in the lower left corner, where it says stop video.
Cameras out.
Click the arrow. Yeah, he's having issues coming.
Yeah.
Click the arrow and select your camera. That might work. And then click on the video camera itself and see if that pops you in.
Yeah, what's up with this? Never done this before.
It's YouTube and Zoom. They're fighting again.
All right, hold on a second.
Got your placeholder.
Camera,
we got you.
Stevie, does your camera have a red line through it?
Yeah, and I'm clicking on it. It just jumps off.
Click on that first, and then click the arrow.
All right. Yeah, let me try again. Hold on.
The line goes away.
Hold up. Let me back.
Okay. Anyway, going back.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the hustle is the hustle today. You gotta, feel. I mean, look. If drone delivery, if peer-to-peer drone delivery is your piece of cake, God bless you.
You want to know what?
I just think you got to walk in with both eyes open
Fail to start
because,
video camera, please.
you know, it hasn't worked out
Wow.
that well in the past. If you check the boards, okay. I personally don't have experience with them because I didn't think it was a good deal. They
Right.
weren't, you know, a lot of I forget some of the names of these companies, and I really don't want to mention them anyway. But you know, it basically came down to, hey, go fly here, take a picture of this piece of real estate. If anybody approaches you, tell them you're authorized to be there, but don't represent yourself as us.
Right.
Don't wear
Right.
anything that says, you know. And it was like, oh, no. And then I'm going to carry my own insurance for that. I'm going to have to deal with somebody coming up on me out in the street. What are you doing?
Well, I had
No. The commercial jobs I got were actual commercial jobs, and I dealt with the primes on those jobs.
Right.
And I had to provide certificates of insurance. And in some cases, I had to get authorizations to fly in certain areas. So, you know, all that takes a level of effort. And if you're not paying yourself to cover your expenses and then some profit, you're not doing this right.
Right. Well, see,
okay, it's like the photographers that go out there, Herman, that go out there and, you know, you shoot a wedding, you know, you quote several $1,000s and they go in and go, oh, I can do it for $350. Don't you worry. Okay. Well, you get what you pay for.
Yeah. But you're gonna get,
and you don't survive undercutting.
but
You don't survive undercutting.
What I tell you all the time, I tell people this all the time. If you found a guy that's willing to do for you what I was willing to do for you in my quote, and cheaper, then go with that guy.
Hold on,
Absolutely.
Herman. I have the perfect picture.
Go with that guy.
Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. Just pull it up. This is what we do when you charge a price and someone says, "Can you be cheaper?"
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and I'm sad. I'm sorry to say it, but if the guy comes in your house,
that is a horse, right?
It started out that way.
Yeah.
Somebody was looking for a deal.
It slowly turned into a donkey.
Hey, Big Matt, what's good, man? How are you?
Big Matt.
What's up, Stevie? How are you?
All that sounds.
I'm good. I'm good.
Tired.
Sorry about that. I had the camera hooked up to something else, and I had to close that out. It couldn't share whatever. It was on my end. It wasn't YouTube. It wasn't Zoom.
Okay. In other words, it was a pre-flight check.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It happens.
Yeah.
It does.
Apologize for that.
It does. When you have multiple devices hooked up and you're constantly plugging and unplugging stuff, trust me.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I have all these windows open, and I just had to close everything out. It just
Stevie, if you had that 49-inch widescreen curve, you wouldn't have to worry about that.
See, we got to start getting that PayPal donations.
Marcel Roberts, how are you?
GoFundMe account.
GoFundMe, big TV in there.
Then you got to
fund me some new toys. Yep.
Then you get the next one and stack it right on top.
Yeah, Herman wants to stack two 49-inch curves. I'm like, of course, Herman will be wearing glasses like Mr. Magoo within the first 3 months.
No, you just sit back. You know where you can see the end of the. I'll show you.
We got a setup where we have 6 wide curves.
What's up, Ed?
Set up on a rack.
Right.
Okay. And it was funny because when we had an intern come in, this kid fell in love with that. I mean, this kid was a gamer. You had to see him. He got all sweaty and everything.
Yeah, it's salivate.
Okay? Yeah.
That was just like you ringing the bell.
Yep, that was it. Exactly. Start drooling, baby.
What's going on, man?
What you say?
What's going on? How's everything?
I'm hanging in there.
How's the leg?
We're all here. It's getting there. It's getting better. It's getting better.
We have to pull up.
It's getting better.
Charge up the batteries and pull up at your house.
It's getting better. I figure in a few weeks I'll be ready to go.
Really? That's good.
Yeah,
good.
I mean, it's
just in time for the snow, brother.
We have to put you on a sled and drag you out to the
That's
park.
right.
And I'm not
No,
going-
but it's
Anyway, no,
if
it's-
you put his box, his drone case on the sled, it'll be easier to pull.
There you go.
No, we put a ski on those wheels. That's all.
I just put the knapsack on my back.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
Hey, what's up, Ed? It
getting
was
get out
kind of
of
windy. It was actually not windy. It was cold here this morning. I got up
Yeah.
Oh, it was 30.
5
It woke up
at-
to freezing temperatures here
I
in New
got
York.
up at 5 this morning. It
Well,
was
but-
33 degrees, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I didn't cut off the pipe that goes outside to the lawn. I
Uh-oh.
was
Mm.
like, I cut it off tonight though,
Yeah.
because you don't want a water pipe freezing,
No,
and
no.
especially living in the basement,
Yeah, that's never good. Never good.
So I made sure I cut off the
I think
water
60
outside.
degrees this weekend, though. I mean,
Friday's supposed
yeah,
to be
Friday,
60.
Saturday. Saturday's going to be nice too. It looks like
Hey,
so.
Hey, Big Matt, did you see them people online? Outside
Yeah, for the
Micro
graphics
Center?
card, Herman.
The people
Yeah,
online
As
outside
you
of
guys
Micro
may
Center?
not know this, but computer parts are more valuable than gold
I
in the
just think
computer world.
I just think that, like they call it, it is what it is. It's a paper launch. It's to say I launched something,
Yeah, because they don't actually have anything in hand.
Well, what happens is all right. For the amount of people who are interested in an item and the popularity of these things and the want, the need to have these things for people.
Give me some context.
A
What are we
large
talking about?
on computer parts, such as processors, the graphic.
Oh.
It's truly not a launch if you're only sending like 10 to each store or 5. That's not a launch.
It's freaking. That's
a joke.
That's marketing nowadays. That's
That's a
unfortunately
joke.
how they play this game now.
You know what I mean? And the ones
Demand.
that are
Create
online,
artificial demand.
right? And then the ones that are online was bought by like what?
Audley, have a good evening, sir.
Maybe 12 people.
Thanks
Take
for
care,
coming
Audley.
and supporting.
Maybe 12 people with bot setups and able to get these things. But
Yeah, and you got to figure, Tom, for every store that gets 10, there's at least 3 geeks there, which eliminate 3 off the top.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And those are the ones that camp out at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, right. With their person, with their job ID to get it on
See,
the discount.
Yeah.
You see them with like 40 coats on and a folding chair.
Oh, they got the pop-up tent.
Right inside
Crazy.
playing Nintendo all night.
Well, yeah. DroneSense.
Hey, Drone Fox Island.
Autel
Have a great
Robotics.
evening. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, they're supposed to be coming up with this. Well, drones. Like I said, DroneSense. They do software for public safety. So now they're coming with the thing where they're working with.
Yeah, I've used. I have
robotics.
experience with their product.
Okay. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but they're working with Autel Robotics, and it's funny because this story mentions the whole, made in America thing, and we all know that Autel, being is that it is not an American company, they did make the dual drone, that Autel 2, the Evo 2 dual was made
Okay.
here in the United States, or assembled
Components assembled in the U.S.
assembled here in the U.S.
Yeah.
So, with that being the case, the thing that I thought was interesting about this being is, this drone actually got pushed forward because of this Made in America thing, and it's now, like I said, they're working with DroneSense with this solution for public safety. But now this software is going to hit all of their drones, even the ones that are 100% Chinese made, and they just got ballooned or blanketed in, but with this whole thing. And I just think that it's funny because it came up, like I said, the Made in America thing is why
Well,
this drone actually.
Well, think
got
about
pushed
it
to
this
the
way.
front for it.
It's nothing more than you have. What's a good analogy? Okay, DJI Fly app.
Mhm.
Okay, and the smart controller. So the Mavic Mini 2 comes out. Okay. Well, it works in DJI Fly, but it's a different version of DJI Fly. And you got to wait until the firmware comes out or the upgrade to the application comes out, more likely, for the Mini 2 to work on the smart controller. Now it does. Okay. So basically, DroneSense added Autel robotics to the portfolio of drones that are now available within their software suite. So for those of you that don't know, DroneSense is a all-in-one type of wrap for a commercial entity or a public safety entity. So what it provides me as the user, it provides me personnel management. So all my pilots, my VOs, their credentials, all their training stuff, all their training evolutions, their missions, their flight hours, all is kept in there.
Right. So
what aircraft I have, my Air Force or my fleet, all my aircraft are in this. And I can track how many jobs, how many hours, how many battery cycles, all of that, right? Because as a public safety or commercial entity, remember, we have to have maintenance records. And then the central point of this is the application you fly with is DroneSense's application. So you're not flying with DJI Pilot or Go 4 or Fly. You're flying with the DroneSense application. And now the DroneSense application interfaces with Pix 4D React. And in addition to that, it also provides back-end capability for streaming, okay, with relatively low latency, because now collecting the video is one thing, but broadcasting the video is where the real meat of this comes in, right? So that you can broadcast to the incident commander and then broadcast back to the remote command post and the field communications units and whoever else needs to consume that, and even other agencies. So the nice thing about DroneSense is, say I'm down in Texas and I'm flying for the sheriff's office in this town. And then there's a state entity that's also going to fly with us as we do this search. Well, if they're a drone, if they can then attach their DroneSense account to the activity account that we're flying this incident over, so that we can share that information across. So DroneSense is a pretty big show in the realm of public safety when it comes to leveraging this kind of technology.
But I think what Herman was trying to get at was they were trying to prevent Chinese-made drones from being a part of this
DroneSense
thing, right?
already works. No. See, that's a mistake, because DJI drones already work in DroneSense.
Yeah, but they were trying to get DJI out.
No.
That's not where I was going with it.
No?
Yeah.
Because
what's happening with
I've heard a report that they were trying to push DJI out of all these government services.
Oh, no, that's a different thing. That's called Blue Drone. Okay. So that's where they only government entities or government funded, like Stevie with public safety. A lot of times you'll get federal grant money. Well, now with the federal grant money, there's a stipulation tied to it that you can't buy DJI drones. Okay. It's not DroneSense, because DroneSense is an open entity, basically. Basically, all DroneSense had to do was say, hey, Autel, give us your SDK, your software development kit, which provides us all the hooks into what your aircraft does, so that we can then port that into our application and allow your pilots to fly under this DroneSense umbrella. Okay. But no, we have M210s RTKs in DroneSense. We have Phantom 4 RTKs in DroneSense. I mean, the number one bird to fly mapping missions is a Phantom 4 RTK.
Yeah, that was my understanding. That's when I started seeing YouTube's. When I started seeing YouTube saying they were trying to push DJI out, I was confused because DJI, there's not a lot of drones that could do what DJI drones could do. You understand? That's made to that level. So why would they push them out and jeopardize?
Well, the Autel product is a great product. But if you compare the Autel product to the DJI product, there's a small difference in technology. I would say the Autel is maybe a better in a couple of areas, but it's probably 3 times the price of the DJI, Mavic 2 ED, about $3,500.
Well, if
okay,
you're gonna compare it in that sense of the for what we're talking about now, the dual,
yeah,
the Autel is a better drone.
Yeah, I'm not disparaging it at all. Okay, I'm just saying, look, there's a push by all these companies, right? Skydio, Autel, we're going to build in the U.S. We're gonna edge DJI out. Okay,
Right.
Just realize there's a new administration coming in, or eventually coming in, and now there might be a different approach with DJI, and DJI would be stupid at this point if they didn't look to invest in building product in this country, right?
True.
Okay. So now if they start to build product in this country, will they fall under the
I don't
blue drone?
Well, see, I don't actually know how true that was, that so-called government edition of the DJI drones were supposedly assembled or not. I don't know.
Look,
but I do know that a lot of operations that they did have was closed down.
It's the data. And you know what? We addressed that already.
No, we did.
And I'm saying, me as a public safety provider, we addressed this already.
We did on the show too, because with that.
Yeah, but we already wrapped our drones with other software. We've wrapped our solutions differently, and that data is not going back to the motherland. But hey, look, there's a lot of these things that get blown out of proportion are politicized, right? So we got to realize a lot of this is politicized. The reality is probably a lot different than how it's being promoted. Just like you, Stevie, thinking that it's DroneSense trying to edge them out. No, DroneSense wants more players in the game, right?
No, Skydio
wants them edged out because it's a marketing advantage.
What my understanding was, not that DroneSense was getting or pushing out Chinese drones, that at one point they didn't want our data, anything that's going on in America, to be able to be transferred to China in some way. That was the whole conspiracy.
Oh, that's the Feds. Yeah, that started with
now when you're using a Chinese drone with these apps, like you were describing before, you could list all your drones, you could keep all your data. Like it basically you're putting all your information into this app, the DroneSense app.
Yeah,
and this is what they were trying to prevent.
DroneSense was always a wrap solution. Okay, and our use of DroneSense is continental U.S. certified. Mm-hmm. So we only allow, like with a lot of things, if you're a government entity and you're using any kind of cloud services, Stevie, there's stipulations for government entities that those cloud services will only be located as within the continental U.S. and within a realm of security, meaning it's got to be wrapped with AES 256-bit encryption. Right. And data has to be encrypted both at rest and in transit, all those things, right? And basically you were doing the same thing here with this data. It was wrapped. It was a cocoon, okay? But again, it got politicized.
I think that was a spin on everything. Everything went,
Yeah, and I'm not saying they're not wrong.
Hey, Herm, I'll be right back.
I understand the intelligence agencies are concerned, but don't you realize that data is already out there?
Okay. Well, yeah, that's what I was going to tell Steve, that a lot of these, picture sharing apps you remember when the whole controversy came up with DJI and the SDKs and stuff like that? Right. A lot of these picture sharing apps that we so happily play with, use the same thing. Use the exact
TikTok, Instagram.
No, not even TikTok, but they use the exact same thing that everybody's complaining about.
Right.
And this is why.
And I'm not calling out TikTok, Herman. I'm just saying.
But this is why But this is why when guys were talking about remote ID, I said I had no problem with it. The only problem I had with it was that you're asking me to do the same thing and that is that same avenue that someone else used to share information elsewhere. So that's an opportunity for a major security breach, not just for me, but for your system. But like I said, I don't know. I'm not the expert on it. But let them do their thing, and I'll comply. I just but that's neither here nor there. Talking with this, why I brought that up about the whole, because the article that I was reading mentions Autel, and it mentions the whole made in the USA thing.
Yeah, Project Blue.
Right, and even though that drone, I don't believe it wasn't on the list, but it still gets mentioned as a drone that is made in the United States. And
just think about, they're worried about drone video. Okay,
well,
Google's already supplied everybody with everything in Google Maps, in Google Earth. Okay, and then Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and all these applications. Remember, 90% of that is being shot with your mobile phone. And guess what you just did? You just geocoded every picture you've taken. You've geocoded that picture. Right, so if somebody wants to use that, but come on. We're at the point now, I'm not worried about the Chinese or the Russians. I'm worried about Google.
The thing is, right, here's my thing with that, and you're right about that, Tom, but I think that if the government was, or whoever was worried about them getting your video, I think that and that has already been addressed too.
Yeah.
That is stupid, because here goes a drone that is geofenced and I cannot fly it into sensitive area. So now that means that you, the person who's looking to steal those videos, are waiting and hoping that John Joe drone pilot flies to some place that is interesting enough for them to be able to get that information.
Take notice?
Yes. Yeah. And that to me is stupid.
You make
That's
more money.
That's not what I worry about.
You make more money.
I worry about is that all of the backdoor thing.
Look, data.
Somebody's got your information.
Today, data is the real currency. Today, let's realize it. Data is the real currency today. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Your money is nothing without that data anymore. Okay?
Yeah. It's all about analytics and such.
Right.
They're gathering that information. They sell it to major corporations. That's why I don't click on things that I like on Facebook. You ever see your Facebook and you see all your friends clicked on Best Buy or they clicked on Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
They gathering that information. They put you all in categories and then they sell it to those corporations that are interested.
I love big data. I shall not lie.
Oh, yeah, that's how it goes.
That's life today. Yep. That's life. Okay. It used to be big booty. It's big data today, baby. That's where the money is.
You got to get the big data first, and then
then you get the big data. Look, it got politicized. We'll see what happens. If you're serious about this game on, doing this commercially or doing it for public safety, it's managed differently. It's managed differently than it's managed for us when we fly as enthusiasts. It's a totally different game entirely. Okay. Tell me how many of you are keeping records on how you maintain your drones? But the only way you're doing that is with the flight records app. Okay. In DJI Fly or DJI Go, right? Here's my records. No, well that doesn't cut it for the FAA when you're running a fleet. Okay. And then you got to manage records across all those drones and who's qualified to fly those drones and all that. Mm-hmm. So, this is basically a suite of applications. And now they've added a new portfolio. And that portfolio is Autel.
Exactly.
Yeah. But they're like any other software integration tool that when Pix 4D came out, which wasn't that far after DroneSense, DroneSense was smart and got a strategic partnership with Pix4D. When Pix4D released their React program, which made it easier for public safety to do quick situational mapping on lower platforms, they were there. DroneSense was there and said, "Hey, we're gonna take your SDK and then code that into our app, so our pilots can shoot directly from our application into Pix4D." So that also maintains a similar suite across all these aircraft. So Stevie, think about it. You go from a DJI drone to fly a Skydio drone to fly an Autel drone, and the interface, the application is completely different across all three. Well, with DroneSense, I don't care if I'm flying this brand, that brand, or the other brand, my display is the same.
Right.
It's consistent, across my fleet. So that makes it easier from a risk management standpoint to manage your Air Force, to keep your product safe, to keep your pilots in tuned and safe, and to make sure because remember, you got a COA. So you got that certificate of authorization. And for some entities like here in the city with the fire department, we have a nationwide COA. We can fly anywhere in the continental US under this COA. You put that at risk if you play this game any differently. Okay. And realize I had to basically write a thesis for that COA. Okay. That's something you don't want to toil through a second time because you screwed it, so one of your pilots or somebody in your organization screwed things up for you.
Right.
Okay.
And it's easier to get a COA at that level because you have process, you have procedures, you're a paramilitary organization, and the FAA expects a higher quality of product from you, than just the guy with the Part 107. So you got to do things the right way. They are looking, they are watching, and they're taking this into consideration when they're looking to commercialize more of this world as well.
But that's why you were saying that it may kind of I figured that it makes it hard for DJI to get that Terra app working, not only because of the things going on with them, but the fact that you already have a software that's in use. You're using it across the platform. Everybody's using it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. And it would be for somebody new coming into the game to implement that into their system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be too much of a learning curve,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? How many different products do you have to fly and be proficient in? Okay. Think about it. When you're looking at like a military pilot, right? You go through a series of classroom training, then simulator training, and then you fly a trainer.
Right.
Okay. And then they figure out from there where you're going. Okay. Am I going to put this jockey in an FA-18? Am I going to put him in an F-35?
You see what
where am I
Brendan
going
O'Connor typed?
Yeah, he's right.
Like you guys mentioned, Google Maps basically gives up all locations information anyway. So what's the concern with data that's coming from our drones? Quite frankly, who cares?
Look, there's two different aspects here. The data at large, it's already out there. You're right. Okay. But if you're talking about data within an operating realm like a war zone, yes, you gotta manage that differently. You gotta secure that differently. Okay. Remember, we're in this age now where everything gets told to everybody. Before there's a troop movement, you hear that there's going to be a troop movement. To me, that's completely asinine. That's the last thing I want you to know, right? So yes, you have to handle data differently based on circumstances and conditions. Okay, that's operating parameters 101. Okay, you don't. We don't have one operating guide for when you go to a fire, you fight it this way. We have hundreds. Why?
You see what
there's
Big
so many
Matt
different.
put? You see what Big Matt put? He put, had the authorities try to check me the other night in the park. I had my ID and my drone pilot's ID, registration for both drones, and they said, have a good evening. That's exactly what it's all about, Matt.
It's just
I
having
don't
shit
see
in
why
order.
it's so freaking
Yeah.
hard to spend $5 to register what you're flying. So if someone comes up to you, if you have your personal ID and you have that registration shows some kind of responsibility.
Well, yeah, that's it. And Matt, right? They didn't have half a clue what they were looking at, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
But
No,
you
they
had your
don't.
stuff in line,
But they
right?
saw
It's a certain
legitimate
level of
paper. They saw
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Here. Here's this. Here's that. Here's this. Here you go. And
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
looking at you like, oh, he's squared away. Okay.
Mhm.
Have a good night.
right, Matt. We had the same Big Matt. We had the
All
same
he
thing
knows
happen. Me,
symbol.
you, Herman, and Ray were flying at the foot of the bridge. Okay, and lady, I remember her. I remember standing there because when the cops came, they said that someone reported 5 guys flying drones over people's heads or whatever they were doing, flying over the bridge, which none of us were doing. But I remember her being on the phone, like looking at us. And I didn't think anything of it because I was flying, everybody was flying, and the police officer saw it. Everybody had their drone registrations and paperwork.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
did they say? You gentlemen have a good night. And they
You
had
see, yeah, John Coopy says he's got his cards, laminated on a lanyard. Yeah. It's funny because I've gone out and shot some drone jobs, and in the trunk of my car, I have the yellow safety vest.
Mhm.
Okay. And on the
we
back,
had
it
veg,
has
we had everything. Yeah.
FAA certified drone pilot, not FAA certified Part 107 pilot, because who the hell knows what that is except us, right?
Right.
And now they see FAA certified, and nobody comes up to me. I had a cop come up to me once, and you know what he said? He said, "Which one is that? Is that a Mavic or a Phantom?" Okay.
Right. Because
He was excited like a little school kid.
Uh-huh.
He didn't
They
ask me a single thing about what I was doing.
They don't.
Okay.
There's nothing in the rule book that they learn about drones. They're just
No,
figuring
it's
it
not
out
taught in the
by
academy,
yeah.
no.
They just question people when
They
other
get an
people report it. When people
Stevie, what
report it.
happens is they get an operations order occasionally. That'll come out. It'll get read at roll call, okay?
Mhm.
And it'll be say, look, at the beginning of COVID, it happened. Be on the lookout for, okay, this. We have, but it didn't happen citywide, Stevie. They didn't at every precinct roll call have, okay, everybody, look out for drones in the sky. There were
Right.
particular areas, like in Red Hook.
Mhm.
Hey, if you work in boys sector in the Red Hook area, okay, then around this area, be aware that any drones that are spotted, because why? There was a makeshift morgue in that area, and there were other drone flights going on that were actually public safety drone flights going on to check with thermal imaging camera to make sure all those portable morgues or those temporary morgues, that their refrigeration systems were working.
Right.
Okay.
So
Right.
the most effective
is
way to
most
do
important.
that was to fly drones. Okay.
And also
with thermal imaging.
around City Island because of that.
Yeah, because of that drone pilot
Yeah.
that recorded
Well,
that was
again,
flying from the
sensitive-
Rikers Island inmates burying bodies.
And
Yeah,
not
well,
only that, well,
guys,
that
sensitive
sparked the whole
locations.
yeah.
are open to interpretation, right?
And anything that falls back into the mayor's office becomes a thing, right? So now, even if you don't mention it in roll call, now all these cops are hearing these stories. So if they see a drone pilot, they're gonna just stop. But like I said, they don't know the restrictions. They're not too wise
You're
to the
really
FAA
not
rules.
gonna-
So most of the time, if you speak properly and you explain
Absolutely.
and you show your registration, they're gonna just keep it moving.
Freezing.
Well, you
said,
saw how what happened that day, Stevie,
Oh,
over
that
in
was-
Brooklyn.
That was the FPV pilots brought all that attention. 'Cause
Yeah,
we
yeah,
were there
but
for
also-
hours.
Oh,
bro.
gee,
Remember,
thanks.
Yeah,
like
it was
in
one of
our
Lawrence,
area-
it was Lawrence's peoples.
Like in our area, you got two different groups, basically. You got the NYPD, New York City police officers, the cops, right?
Yeah,
Honestly, they're the least likely people to bother you.
yeah.
Mhm.
The park,
You're right. You're right about
the
that.
park officers, the park police, okay, which they're peace officers. They're not full police officers, by the way. But they're the ones more likely to give you a hard time because sometimes they tend to be frustrated wannabe police officers, but
Ouch.
haven't gotten there yet or can't get there. Okay, that could be one area. But a lot of times they're misinformed. Okay,
Yeah.
like Stevie, when they came up on us in that park, okay, we turned it around like, hey, no problem. What's the problem? Is it the administrative code? They didn't even know.
No,
Probably
he didn't
the
know.
administrative code.
He
Okay,
was like a dare,
but we
a
were
dare
smart enough,
headlights.
Regular
and
police.
we were nice enough with them.
What'd you say, Herman?
It's more on their radar than it is on the regular police department.
But I'll tell you,
Yeah,
Because
the
I'm
parks
in
is
the
it,
park.
at least in this city.
when
Yeah,
Tom,
yeah. In New York City, I agree.
I'll tell you, when Tom started speaking to the officer, the guy looked like a deer out of head. With the deer, when you see the headlights, he didn't know how to
These guys got
respond,
big.
but he didn't want to look like he didn't know how to respond. You know, he responded well, and he was a nice guy. They both, the lady,
Yeah, they were
cop,
both nice. Yeah,
she
yeah.
didn't speak at all, but Tom just stunned them. Like Tom knew the wording, knew what to say, was very articulate.
Well,
and this Parks Department police officer or whatever you want to call him, he didn't know what to say because he knows. Well, he didn't know, but he didn't have nothing to hold us from not, like, he couldn't make us leave really if we wanted to stay there.
It was more so that we acknowledged their presence. Okay, we acknowledged their authority. It's the first thing I did was basically, hey, how are you? Hey, you know, what is it? We causing a problem? You know, we're just a group of adults here. So establish yourself, who you are. And then it was basically, hey, what's the problem? Is it the administrative code or is it something with parks? Because, and right away he said, oh, our regulations. And I went, well, it's a new park and there's a new sign. So make sure they put no drones on the sign because they got no this, no that, but they didn't have no drones. So we thought it was okay. And they were like, oh, let's go talk. We got to go talk to our supervisor. By the way, does anybody want any masks? And I think they spent the next, Stevie, half hour
that's even
handing out
in the food chain,
dozens and dozens of free masks.
Yeah, they gave us a bunch of masks, and then they went back to the car and came back with more masks and started giving out masks.
Yeah, but remember the crowd. Remember the crowd. We're a bunch of, if it's free, it's for me. Okay.
Well, I'm laughing with Big Matt because we were in Randall's Island, and for some reason, whenever I was at an NYC 5-borough meetup, when the police or security or parks department came, everyone said, yo, Lawrence, they coming. I'm like, so what are you telling me? But Big Matt and I walked over to talk to the guys from the parks department. Now, Matt's 6'5", whatever height he is, he's taller than me. I'm 6'3". And
that's actually
there.
big.
We're standing there and we're talking to this guy that's maybe about 5'8", 5'9". And he was explaining to us how you have to apply for a waiver to fly on Randall's Island now.
Yeah.
You can't just go there and fly. And it was completely civil. And he's like, well, technically, and it was funny because I didn't mean to laugh, but he was like, well, technically, I'm supposed to report you guys and confiscate your drones. And me and Matt looked at each other like,
but I'm a good guy. I wouldn't do that.
And I chuckled. I didn't mean to chuckle. I did. But it was civil. And he explained, he gave us the number where you can go to apply to fly.
Yeah, you got to apply for a filming permit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
that's the other way they're trying to steer it now is.
But hey, Tom, before he came, before he came up to us, 2 cops had came by and was checking out this guy's mask fit. And at the same time, there was a police helicopter hovering about a quarter of a mile collecting everyone's data. That was the first day that we saw Xavier with the life rescue vest on, you know, the full Coast Guard orange winter vest that he had on. So
yeah, don't call too much attention to yourself.
It wasn't a vest.
Yeah, it was Arctic. No, it's his jumpsuit. It's
Arctic
jumpsuit. Arctic
Coast Guard
jumpsuit.
Orange Arctic jumpsuit. And
Yeah.
people that came to the park.
It looks like a Krabbe's survival suit.
You're right, because people that came
right?
to the park were like, "Where are you?" And people were like, "Just look for the orange car."
Oh,
yeah.
And they're like,
well, there were plenty of times we put that out there. Yeah.
No, Lawrence. The funny thing was, I was going to the men's room, and you know where the men's room was. And I saw Jameson, and Jameson was like, "What's up?" He was like, "Never mind, I see him." That's what he talking about.
From a mile away.
He said, but I could see Xavier.
They were pulling up in the parking lot, like, oh yeah, I see Xavier's over there.
Yeah, that's what we were down
park a little closer.
And when we had that meetup on Randall's Island, New York City Police Department or whoever it was, they were still collecting data, because at that time we knew all the helicopters that were flying around New York, including NYPD, could see us. And he conveniently hovered about a quarter mile away, and guys were flying here and guys were flying there, and all they were doing was collecting data. But when the guy came over to Matt and I, and he mentioned about, well, technically we're supposed to confiscate your drones. We look at him, and I chuckled, because there were about 15 of us, 17 of us out there. You're going to confiscate everybody's drone? And he's like, well, Matt asked him. Matt did the smart thing. He said, well, where can I go to get permission to fly?
Yeah.
And he commenced to say, well, you have to apply at so-and-so spot, and they would give you a waiver, and then you would have to tape off the area to show that this spot is designated.
Well, if you start looking, because I've gone through some of the filming permits and all in the city, right? And if you go through it, it can get to be a rather expensive proposition, okay? Because depending on where you're filming, when you're filming, things like that, they might ask that you have a certain amount of security, and then you have to provide insurance and all that. So, you know, it's funny, but no, the approach was right, Matt. I mean, yeah, no problem. I'd love to comply with whatever regulations. Where do I go to do that?
Yeah,
It's
that makes
basically
a
the
lot
best
of sense,
approach.
because now he's not talking that nonsense about confiscation.
Right,
No, you take him right off that first
and
thought.
he relaxed. He because when he got out of the car, he sighed. You could see him like,
yeah, and they're big.
So I really got to go do this.
Yeah, and they're big.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's
well, with just him, right? It was just him.
It was just him by himself. So the tallest guys in the group walk over. How are you, officer? What can we do?
Yeah.
And we don't Tom, we don't do that here in New York City, despite what people hear and say.
Whatever they think of us, right?
Right. We don't do that here. And it was very civil.
The process.
And we left with a phone number where to apply for waivers to fly on Randall's Island. He left, probably got in his car and said, damn, I'm glad I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, no, I talked to them. Okay, no problem. It's like Stevie, the guy who came onto us at Croton. It wasn't him, it was his boss.
He came up in a golf cart.
He came up in a golf cart. Is that his drone?
He pulled up on a golf cart. And he was like,
he goes, he says to me, and I walked right over to him, right, Stevie? I saw him coming.
Tom went in, and we all stood to the side. And
let me deal with this. And I go over, and he goes, "Is that a drone?" I go, "Those are unmanned aerial systems." And he goes, and is that a drone? I go, "Well, they're unmanned aerial systems. They have cameras on them." And he goes, "Oh, do they call those drones?" I go, "Yeah, they're drones. Oh, you can't fly those here." And I go, "Oh, really?" Because we were just, he goes, "Oh, it's not me." He goes, "It's my boss. He's standing over there on the hill. He's watching me." I go, "Oh, okay. It's just us. It's a few adults." And I even mentioned, and Stevie, you had your son with you, and, we're flying over the water, even though where was X at the time? Okay. X is doing an active track on those cross-country runners that were there.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like,
we just came across a bad day because they had a big event at the park that day.
Yeah,
so
that was
we had teenagers we had stuff a meetup. Like that.
Yeah, we had a meetup. And then what was funny was because Stevie and I had flown there, what was it, like 2 weeks before?
Yeah, and we had
we had like 15 sailboats all together go by us. Yeah. And it was like so scenic that we had to share it with other people. We were like, okay, we're going to have a meetup. Like
they had some kind of organized race or something.
Well, no, they had the Westchester County High School cross country.
No, I'm talking about the sailboats. Remember the sailboats?
Oh, that
they
day,
were all colorful sailboats,
and
it was like real professional, looked like professional teams, and they were going
all the way up to Albany and back.
Yeah. We had no idea they were going to be there, and out of nowhere, we see all these colors coming up the Hudson,
coming over the horizon. It was amazing.
It was great. Yeah. And then Tom said, "I'm going to make a meetup And he created.
Yeah, we got to
meetup.
share this with people.
And when I went to go to the meetup, I'm like, damn, Tom knows a lot of people. Like there was
Yeah,
no
right.
parking.
The parking lot was full.
I was like, geez, Tom turned up. And it was freaking a track and field thing going on with all the schools.
It was the
in
Westchester. I looked it up, Stevie. It was the Westchester County Cross Country Championships for the high schools.
They had
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids. There had to be like 40 buses there.
That's why they
I pull in the parking lot. I got there early. You know, I'm running the meet. I got there early. And Eduardo was already there in his car. And he goes, uh-oh, I think we might have a problem. I says, it's only a problem if they come up to us and tell us it's a problem. So
right. And that's how you have to think about it.
Yeah.
Seriously. The first time that a white shirt supervisor, I say white shirt, New York City Department of Parks, came up to me in a park and said, you can't fly here. And I was like, well, I see your signs. They say no barbecuing, no drugs, no this, no that. But every year you guys put up new signs and they say that, but you still say there's no drone flying. I've been flying from this park at that time for about 2.5 years. I said, I teach people how to fly for here for years. He says, well, I'm new to the area. I said, I can believe that because I've never seen anyone. Sure. I've never seen anyone with the white shirt ever come into this park and tell me I couldn't fly. And then this is when the foolery started, because after this guy, Herman and I were in the park and the supervisor, or it was a supervisor, if I'm correct, Herman, goes and tells us, well, there's no drone flying in this park. So one of us goes, well, since when? And she goes, since forever.
Wow.
Yeah, she said since they came out.
Yeah, since drones came out.
Since drones came out.
Yeah.
You know,
well, drones actually came out at the dawn of aviation. So wow, that's a long time.
And then I had a supervisor with a white shirt tell me, you can't fly here, but you see that marker that starts the state park, you can fly on their property. And I didn't want to mention to him that you cannot fly in state. I said, listen, I said, okay, sir, I will pack up everything and go to that side of the park. And I stood there. And then when they left,
park side.
I stood on the state park side. And when they left, I moved back to the city park.
A lot of people don't know that.
That's like one of the first things you learn.
Gantry is
you can't fly in the state park.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But you know,
that time, guys.
Yeah,
we gotta go.
It is that time. We've been having too much fun here.
Too much fun.
Thank you, Metro Jones. Thank you for the super chat, or not a super chat, but the
PayPal.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, we appreciate you, Metro Jones. You are a true supporter of those guys and everyone else here, because without you guys, we would not be.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Guys, Tom, Lawrence, Stevie, thank you for hanging out tonight, chit-chatting.
Always a good time, Herman.
Always a pleasure.
And sharing these stories with everyone. And I'd like to thank everyone in the chat for coming and hanging out with us. You know, like I said before, and I always say, without you, none of this would be possible. And I'll see you next time on Phantom Flight 101 with those guys.